hope this is a bit. I get up. Stay.
Gentlemen, certain age needs to be Yes. Oh, you help me? Yeah, otherwise it just sinks down.
I can't keep it up by myself. Mel has to help me keep it up.
No. Somewhere. No. Oh, I know one. Baby, just how you feel. You're very practical. No, I've been
My favourite book.
I've definitely been out.
Unable to read,
Yeah, there's this. You need a microphone.
You
Technician.
might as well. Jump! Go ahead and jump! Now you're the Virgin Mary.
Virgin on the road.
And then put it across like that, and then you be say, yes, Mac. That's it. That's not the how you use this. Can I read this? Can you play my dance? Because it's sort of about how he did the portrait for me and all that.
Yeah, it's on the first thing, right? I've been out with the glamour that I come here for mostly.
Mostly.
And the sanity.
But if you came here for the glamour, you came to the right place. We also do chaos and
We bloody do.
bum 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 bum.
It's all been gorgeous.
You see how lovely and mad this is? And then Rodney Frame out of the camera slowed it down to an acoustic guitar with it.
How are you?
I'm fine.
Excellent. Now,
I've had a nice jump around to that.
have you had a great jump?
Yes, I love that.
Seriously, Jan and Donall are here, and Jan brings the calm, and Donall brings the storm. So it's really exciting.
Well, we're Storm and Drang, that's our nickname. When I was small, I was dyslexic, and it took me a long time to read. And if I saw an S, I couldn't make out that lovely black shape that made the S. I saw the lovely parabola of white space, and I was fascinated by these lovely shapes that the white created. So if I looked at a page, I go, wow, cool, wow, lovely, look at that. And then I'd say, what does it say? I haven't a clue. So that's how dyslexic I was. So, and I grew up in a family where there was very little books anyway. So, you want to know my favourite book?
Yes, go on.
Okay. Unable to read, I looked up at my dad, telling me stories till the light grew dark. New stories, bright and shiny, cobwebs on a dewy morning. Old stories, round and worn, familiar in their telling, told and told again. A bell in a cold, crisp evening. Unable to read somewhat now, I look up to my dad, the best book I ever had. You want to know my favourite song?
Okay, go on.
It's my granny down in Cork. I just realised I didn't know my granny's name down in Cork. She's always just Granny, and that's it. So I must ask my dad. My granny, Arning, blind to everything. She sings songs sung before she was born. Now sung to a shirt or a skirt. Each item of clothing gets its own song. Pyjamas and night dresses get lullabies, dresses get love songs, trousers Irish rebel songs. Unaware, she brushes a stray strand of hair away. It falls back into place, out of place. I stand still in the darkness, her blind eyes see neither me or the darkness. I see her still, the light in her eyes, she remembers song after song, ironing, singing her heart out. And that's how all the poetry went into me. There is a very famous story about me learning my first poem. I'm a tiny little boy. My dad comes in from the plot with a big crop of new potatoes. They're all muddy and everything like that. And he's in his string vest, and he brushes his hand across his forehead. And he said, "Oh, Donny, son." And he leaves a big earthy mark across his forehead. And he says, "Oh, Donald, son, I remember. And I said, "Do you, Dad?" "Yeah, the house where I was born." "Really? What was it like?" "Little window where the sun came peeping in at morn. It never came a wink too soon or brought to vlog a day." And he just went on and on like that. And I thought he wrote the bloody thing. And of course it's Thomas Hood's I remember. But that's how the poetry used to stream into me, left, right and centre. And I used to never know the difference. So poetry wasn't something that you went to a book. Stage wasn't some place that you went. It was all happening. Art was just the ordinary, everyday miracle of my dad being this and being that. So this is my dad doing I remember.
Here we come.
Danny D.
the house where I was born, the little window where the sun came peeping in at morn. He never came a week too soon, nor brought too long a day, but I often wished the night had borne my breath away. I remember the roses red and white, the violets and the lily cups, those flowers made of light, the lilacs where the robin built, and where my brother sat, the laburnum on his birthday, the tree is living yet. I remember where I used to swing, and thought the air must rush as fresh to swallows on the wing. My spirit flew in feathers then, that is so heavy now, and summer pools could hardly cool the fever on my brow. I remember the fir trees dark and high. I used to think their slender tops were close against the sky. It was a childish ignorance, but now 'tis little joy to know I am further off from heaven than when I was a boy. That's it.
Yeah, Dad?
That's called I Remember. Is for Dónall. As he requested it.
Can we all clap?
That's
Yes.
it. I remember.
Oh, he's off again.
Okay, right, go on.
Right, that was a poem that my dad used to do in snatches. So I'd hear a bit of it here, a bit of it there. I never actually heard him do the whole poem altogether. So when he recorded it, that was the first time I actually
When
heard
did
it.
he record it, Donall?
My brother Barry records them every now and then, playing harmonica, singing, reading poems. So now in this technological age, you don't have to rely on memory anymore.
Isn't it fabulous?
You know? So the last time I would have heard that, I would have been about, 7, 12, 17, 23, 30, all like that.
How many brothers and sisters have you got?
I've got 7 sisters and there's 3 brothers. So
And
there's a
who's
whole
your
heap of us.
absolute, who's the one that's so like you just can't believe it? Or is it no one
Oh,
like you?
no, Barry. Barry is exactly like
Is
me.
he
altogether.
replica?
My mother used to say to me, "You'll never be dead as long as Barry is alive." And say to him, "You'll never be dead as long as Donall is alive."
Are
So
you
we're
like
sort of-
twins sort of thing?
Well, we're soulmates as well, and we like all the same things. We like them the same way, the same energy, the same degree of love, the same
Does he
passion.
write poetry then?
He doesn't.
What does he do?
He leaves that to me. He likes music.
Does he play music?
He can play music, but he keeps himself to himself.
So like there's 10 kids, right?
Yeah.
Now, out of the 10, how many write poetry?
Me,
Okay, out of the 10, how many play an instrument?
Barry.
Out of the 10, who is the most beautiful?
Barry.
All right.
He's absolutely gorgeous, and he looks after my dad now. He cares for him. You never have a better carer
I think
than
Barry
my
sounds
brother.
amazing.
Barry, he's fantastic altogether.
Should we do one for Barry then? This is
Yeah,
dedicated to Barry.
This is dedicated to Barry. This is this old childish thing of when I was 2 and 3 and 5 even. I'd wake up. It's called Scattered Dreams. It's just the ordinary everyday miracle of a dad. Whenever I fell asleep, my father came and cupped me in his hands, carried me to bed, as if I were as precious as water into a hot, dry land, or draped like discarded clothing on a couch in a garden, on a bench or a beach. I would be gathered up and awake to find myself back in the safety of my own bed. And I would have thought I had flown or been magically transported by a spell, but it was only the ordinary magic of my father, cradling me in his arms, gathering up the littlest of my scattered dreams, stroking my hair and tiptoeing backwards out of the room, his voice full of tenderness casting a spell. Good night, son. Good night. Good night.
Oh, but your dad, quite clearly, is a poet in the making, isn't he? Because otherwise he wouldn't be attracted to reading that poetry and knowing
Oh
more
no,
about-
no, my dad is a born poet, a natural poet.
Yeah.
And as I said, I didn't need books because my dad was my book
Exactly.
all the
Yeah.
time.
Did he actually sit down and write, though?
No, these
just
are all
made it all
little
up?
things that he remembered as a little boy going to Carrigaline School down in Cork in the 20s. He's a little kid. He used to have to walk 4 miles to school with no shoes, 4 miles back. And you had shoes, but you kept your shoes for Mass on Sunday morning. And then you wore your shoes and the shoelaces tied together around your neck. when you got to the church, you put them on. And then A Blackbird was a poem, A Fallen Rain was a song. So all the poetry just streams in natural, and that's the gift he gave me, to be able to see the world the way he was able to see the world too.
And you quite clearly love him.
Oh, I love him to bits. And you know the story of this song? Really sad altogether.
Really?
So it was written by a widow, this unknown widow. She submitted as a poem to the paper, and it just goes in as a nun or something like that, and everybody goes, "Fuck me, what a gorgeous song!" Or poem, who wrote that? And there was a nationwide search to find out the author of this poem. And then they found there was a little old widow, and it's just a poem about missing her husband. And they got Hoagie Carmichael to put the music to it. We were going to have some famous singer sing it on the radio, and she died about a couple of weeks before it went on. But this is just one woman's silent grief, the bravery of going through those years without him. And it's sort of like, I remember seeing her to Kit explain that, and she started crying, and I was going, oh my God. And I love the song.